Hi y'all, welcome back. This is week 3, video 4. This is about LinkedIn. Last week we talked about LinkedIn. I gave you some very basic, things that you needed to do to make sure that your profile was up and running. I kind of emphasized with you last week how important LinkedIn is. Earlier, in an earlier video today, I also shared with you a strategy that you could use on LinkedIn. There are a couple of additional things that I want to share with you. Again, these are things that I share with my clients that I'm coaching and helping with their LinkedIn profiles. These 3 things are very important, so I want to make sure that you also have access to this information, because I'm finding that the teachers that I'm working with just haven't done this, and they're not even aware that it should be done. And so it's going to be and not just teachers, but people in general are not aware of what recruiters are looking for on LinkedIn, and so they're not making the type of changes that I'm going to talk to you about today. So one of the first things that you need to do on your LinkedIn profile is to go and make sure that your visibility is turned on. That is so important. The second thing that you need to do is you need to make sure that the location that you have chosen on your LinkedIn profile matches the location where you want to work. Now, I live in Texas, and I'm new to Texas, so I'm still trying to figure it out. I live on the outskirts of San Antonio, and there are like a lot of little towns. So if you lived in one of those little towns like Schertz, but you wanted to work in San Antonio, you want to make sure that you list the location where you want to work versus where you live, because recruiters oftentimes do a search for local candidates, and if you fall outside that local area, you may take yourself out of their search parameters. So that location is really important. Make sure the location reflects where you want to work, not necessarily where you want to live. And then the third thing that I want to talk to you about is the job title on your LinkedIn profile. So you're going to have to scroll down the page just a little bit and look at your job titles. Now, I'm going to say, and I'm making this number up, but I think it might be accurate. Over 90% of people with LinkedIn profiles, their job title just says, what their last job title was, and that's it. I need you to hear this. This is so, so important. When a recruiter is searching on LinkedIn, one of the things that they look for almost immediately is your job title, right? They want to know if you've held the type of job title that they're looking for. So what you need to know is that in that job title field, you can actually include 100 characters. Let that sink in. 100 characters can fit in that field. So instead of just putting the job title that you had, I would suggest that you use this formula. You first put in that field the job title that you're going for. Then you put in parentheses or use a comma or a space and put the job title that you had. And then use the rest of the space to describe some of the qualifications that you have for the job that you're looking for. So let's say that you wanted a job as a project manager, but you're a teacher. So you're going to put project manager, then you're going to put comma educator, and then you're going to talk about, some of the things that you've done that project managers do. So I've talked you through an example, but I'm also going to include an example of 2 job title descriptions that I've created below so that you can also actually see what that looks like. So what happens is when the recruiter pulls up your your profile, they see that job title that they're hiring for, and they see that you have some of those qualifications that they're looking for. So those are like the 3 things that I really wanted you to know about LinkedIn and how you can kind of up your chances of showing up in a search and being successful booking an interview. So that really does wrap up the 4th and final video that I have around, some advice on how to kind of up your job search game. There are a couple of other things that I want to just make sure that you know. When it comes to job searching in the corporate world, the things that are most important, like the most important over everything else, is that you're consistent in your job search, right? So if you're going to job search Monday through Friday, job search Monday through Friday. If you decide that you're going to job search Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, then be consistent. It is important that you're consistent and that you're constantly putting in, submitting applications, resumes, and following up, because it takes, if you don't already know, it can take weeks to actually hear back from an employer. So you've got to kind of keep your pipeline full. The other thing that I want to share with you is that it is super important that you manage how you feel. And I've talked about this a little bit before, but you really have to manage the job search process, as you probably already know, is brutal. So you've got to have strategies for, managing how you feel, because when you're frustrated and feeling impatient and angry and confused and all those negative things that come up for you in a job search, even when you think you're hiding it, a professional recruiter who's been around for a while, a hiring manager who's been hiring people for a while, they can totally pick up on that, and you do not, want that to happen. So consistency is important. Managing how you feel is important. And then just making sure that you're careful about the strategies that you're using to job search, right? You don't want to keep doing the same thing in the same way and not get the result that you want, right? So if you're not working with me, consider choosing a job search coach to work with, making that investment of time and money, because once you learn how to job search, you should be good to go, right? But because you're just getting started, typically the teachers that I talk to have been looking for work for 12 months or more. That is way too long, right? And you hear the stories about the people who looked, for a job for a month or 3 months and they got one. That is the exception to the rule. So I would just suggest that you consider working with somebody like me. I would love to work with you. But if not me, then somebody to make sure that you're not making mistakes that are costing you months of time, and that you're not taking advice from random people on, YouTube or somewhere on the internet who've never actually been recruiters, but they are somehow experts about, how to job search. So just some things for you to consider. Thank you so much. I hope this little mini course was helpful to you, and I look forward to seeing you in next week's email. I'm not quite sure what we're going to talk about, but we're going to talk about something interesting. So with that said, I'm going to go ahead and close out our videos for this week, and I will see you next week. Thank you.